Good morning. This is Kim Blaylock with SDG Bible Study, and we've made it to another Friday, this May the 9th, 2025. Hope everyone is doing well, and I hope everyone is ready for the weekend after we get this work day behind us and after we get this reading from God's Word behind us as we're continuing in our reading from the Everyday Gospel, a daily devotional by Paul David Tripp. And we're going to be in 4 chapters in the book of Second Chronicles this morning. We're going to be in chapters 5, 6, 7, and 8 this morning. So join me as we read God's Word together. I've got Pippin here with me this morning, so she's going to join in our reading. Second Chronicles chapter 5. Thus all the work that Solomon did for the house of Yahweh was finished, and Solomon brought in the things set apart as holy by his father David, even the silver and the gold and all the utensils, and he put them in the treasuries of the house of God. Then Solomon assembled the elders of Israel and all the heads of the tribes, the leaders of the fathers' households of the sons of Israel, to Jerusalem, to bring up the ark of the covenant of Yahweh from the city of David, which is Zion. And all the men of Israel assembled themselves to the king at the feast, that is, in the 7th month. Then all the elders of Israel came, and the Levites carried the ark. And they brought up the ark and the tent of meeting and all the holy utensils which were in the tent. The Levitical priests brought them up. And King Solomon and all the congregation of Israel who congregated with him before the ark were sacrificing so many sheep and oxen that they could not be counted or numbered. Then the priests brought the ark of the covenant of Yahweh to its place into the inner sanctuary of the house to the Holy of Holies, under the wings of the cherubim. And the cherubim spread their wings over the place of the ark, and the cherubim made a covering over the ark and its poles from above. But the poles were so long that the ends of the poles of the ark could be seen before the inner sanctuary, but they could not be seen outside, and they are there to this day. There was nothing in the ark except the 2 tablets which Moses put there at Horeb, where Yahweh cut a covenant with the sons of Israel when they came out of Egypt. Now it happened that when the priests came out of the holy place, for all the priests who were present had sanctified themselves without regard to divisions, and all the Levitical singers, Asaph, Heman, Jeduthun, and their sons and relatives, clothed in fine linen, with cymbals, harps, and lyres, standing east of the altar, and with them 120 priests blowing trumpets, in unison, when the trumpeters and the singers were to make themselves heard with one voice to praise and to give thanks to Yahweh. And when they lifted up their voice, accompanied by trumpets and cymbals and instruments of music, and when they praised Yahweh, saying, He indeed is good, for his loving kindness endures forever, then the house of Yahweh was filled with a cloud, so that the priests could not stand to minister because of the cloud, for the glory of Yahweh filled the house of God. Now to chapter 6. Then Solomon said, Yahweh has said that he would dwell in the cloud of dense gloom. Now I've built you a lofty house and a place for your dwelling forever. Then the king turned his face around and blessed all the assembly of Israel, while all the assembly of Israel was standing. And he said, Blessed be Yahweh, the God of Israel, who spoke with his mouth to my father David, and has fulfilled it by his hands, saying, Since the day that I brought my people from the land of Egypt, I did not choose a city out of all the tribes of Israel in which to build a house that my name might be there, nor did I choose any man for a ruler over my people Israel. But I have chosen Jerusalem, that my name might be there, and I have chosen David to be over my people Israel. And it was in the heart of my father David to build a house for the name of Yahweh, the God of Israel. But Yahweh said to my father David, Because it was in your heart to build a house for my name, you did well that it was in your heart. Nevertheless, you shall not build the house, but your son, who will come forth from your loins, he shall build the house for my name. And Yahweh has established his word which he spoke. And I have been established in place of my father David, and sit on the throne of Israel, as Yahweh promised, and have built the house for the name of Yahweh, the God of Israel. And there I have set the ark in which is the covenant of Yahweh, which he cut with the sons of Israel. Then he stood before the altar of Yahweh, before all the assembly of Israel, and spread out his hands. Now Solomon had made a bronze platform, 5 cubits long, 5 cubits wide, and 3 cubits high, and had put it in the midst of the court. And he stood on it, knelt on his knees in the presence of all the assembly of Israel, and spread out his hands toward heaven. And he said, O Yahweh, the God of Israel, there is no God like you in heaven or on earth, keeping covenant and loving kindness to your slaves who walk before you with all their heart, who have kept with your servant David, my father, that which you have promised him. Indeed, you have promised with your mouth and have fulfilled it by your hand, as it is this day. So now, O Yahweh, the God of Israel, keep with your servant David, my father, that which you promised him, saying, you shall not have a man cut off from before me, who is to sit on the throne of Israel, if only your sons keep their way to walk in my law, as you have walked before me. So now, O Yahweh, the God of Israel, let your word truly endure, which you have spoken to your servant David. But will God truly dwell with mankind on the earth? Behold, heaven and the highest heaven cannot contain you. How much less this house which I have built? Yet have regard to the prayer of your slave and to his supplication, O Yahweh, my God, to listen to the cry and to the prayer which your slave prays before you, that your eyes may be open toward this house day and night, toward the place of which you have said that you would place your name there, to listen to the prayer which your slaves shall pray toward this place. And listen to the supplications of your slave and of your people Israel. When they pray toward this place, listen from your dwelling place from heaven. Listen and forgive. If a man sins against his neighbor and is made to take an oath, and he comes and takes an oath before your altar in this house, then listen from heaven and act and judge your slaves, punishing the wicked by bringing his way on his own head, and justifying the righteous by bringing him reward according to his righteousness. And if your people Israel are defeated before an enemy because they have sinned against you, and they turn to you and confess your name and pray and make supplication before you in this house, then listen from heaven and forgive the sin of your people Israel, and bring them back to the land which you have given to them and to their fathers. When the heavens are shut up and there is no rain, because they have sinned against you, and they pray toward this place and confess your name and turn from their sin, when you afflict them, then listen in heaven and forgive the sin of your slaves and of your people Israel. Indeed, teach them the good way in which they should walk, and give rain on your land, which you have given to your people for an inheritance. If there is a famine in the land, if there is pestilence, if there is a scorching wind or mildew, if there is locust or grasshopper, if their enemies besiege them in the land of their cities, whatever plague or whatever sickness there is, whatever prayer or supplication is made by any man or by all your people Israel, who knows his own affliction and his own pain, and spread his hands towards this house, then listen from heaven, your dwelling place, and forgive, and give to each according to all his ways, whose hearts you know, for you alone know the hearts of the sons of men, that they may fear you, to walk in your ways all the days that they live upon the face of the land which you have given to our fathers. Also concerning the foreigner, who is not of your people Israel, if he comes from a far country, for your great name's sake, and your strong hand and your outstretched arm. So if they come and pray toward this house, then listen from heaven, from your dwelling place, and do according to all for which the foreigner calls to you, in order that all the peoples of the earth may know your name, even to fear you, as do your people Israel, and to know that your name is called upon this house which I built. When your people go out to battle against their enemies, by whatever way you shall send them, and they pray to you toward this city which you have chosen, and the house which I have built for your name, then listen from heaven to their prayer and their supplication, and do justice. When they sin against you, for there is no man who does not sin, and you are angry with them and give them over to an enemy, so that they take them away captive to a land far off or near. And if they cause these things to return to their heart in the land where they have been taken captive, and return and make supplication to you in the land of their captivity, saying, we have sinned, we have committed iniquity, and have acted wickedly. And if they return to you with all their heart and with all their soul in the land of their captivity, where they have been taken captive, and pray toward their land which you have given to their fathers, and the city which you have chosen, and toward the house which I have built for your name, then listen from heaven, from your dwelling place, to their prayer and supplications, and do justice for them, and forgive your people who have sinned against you. Now, O my God, I pray, let your eyes be open and your ears attentive to the prayer offered in this place. So now arise, O Yahweh God, to your resting place, you and the ark of your strength. Let your priest, O Yahweh God, be clothed with salvation, and let your holy ones be glad in what is good. O Yahweh God, do not turn away the face of your anointed. Remember your loving kindness to your servant David. Now to chapter 7. Now, when Solomon had finished praying, fire came down from heaven and consumed the burnt offering and the sacrifices, and the glory of Yahweh filled the house. And the priests could not enter into the house of Yahweh because the glory of Yahweh filled the house of Yahweh. And all the sons of Israel, seeing the fire come down and the glory of Yahweh upon the house, bowed down on the pavement with their faces to the ground. And they worshiped and gave praise to Yahweh, saying, for he is good, for his loving kindness endures forever. Now the king and all the people were offering sacrifices before Yahweh, and King Solomon offered a sacrifice of 22,000 oxen and 120,000 sheep. So the king and all the people dedicated the house of God. And the priests stood at their post, and the Levites also, with the instruments of music to Yahweh, which King David had made for giving thanks to Yahweh, for his loving kindness endures forever. Whenever he gave praise by their hand, while the priests on the other side blew trumpets, and all Israel was standing. Then Solomon set apart as holy the middle of the court that was before the house of Yahweh, because there he offered the burnt offerings and the fat of the peace offerings. For the bronze altar which Solomon had made was not able to hold the burnt offering and the grain offering and the fat. So Solomon celebrated the feast at that time for 7 days, and all Israel with him, a very great assembly from Lebo Hamath to the brook of Egypt. And on the 8th day they celebrated a solemn assembly. For the dedication of the altar they celebrated 7 days, and the feast 7 days. And on the 23rd day of the 7th month he sent the people to their tents with gladness and goodness of heart, because of the goodness that Yahweh had shown to David and to Solomon and to Israel his people. Thus Solomon completed the house of Yahweh and the king's house, and all that had come into Solomon's heart to do in the house of Yahweh and in his house he did successfully. Then Yahweh appeared to Solomon at night and said to him, I have heard your prayer and have chosen this place for myself as a house of sacrifice. If I shut up the heavens so that there is no rain, or if I command the grasshopper to devour the land, or if I send pestilence among my people, and my people who are called by my name humble themselves and pray, and seek my face, and turn from their evil ways, then I will listen from heaven, I will forgive their sin, and I will heal their land. Now my eyes will be open and my ears attentive to the prayer offered in this place. So now I have chosen and set this house apart as holy, that my name may be there forever, and my eyes and my heart will be there perpetually. As for you, if you walk before me as your father David walked, even to do according to all that I have commanded you, and will keep my statutes and my judgments, then I will establish your royal throne as I cut a covenant with your father David, saying, you shall not have a man cut off as a ruler in Israel. But if you turn away and forsake my statutes and my commandments, which I have set before you, and go and serve other gods and worship them, then I will uproot you from my land which I have given you, and this house which I have set apart as holy for my name I will cast out of my presence, and I will make it a proverb and a byword among all peoples. As for this house which was exalted, everyone who passes by it will feel desolate and say, why has Yahweh done thus to this land and to this house? And they will say, because they forsook Yahweh, the God of their fathers, who brought them out of the land of Egypt, and took hold of other gods and worshiped them and served them. Therefore, he has brought all this calamity on them. Now to chapter 8. Now it happened at the end of the 20 years in which Solomon had built the house of Yahweh in his own house, that he built the cities which Hiram had given to him, and settled the sons of Israel there. Then Solomon went to Hamath Zobah and overpowered it, and he built Tadmor in the wilderness, and all the storage cities which he had built in Hamath. He also built Upper Beth Horon and Lower Beth Horon, fortified cities with walls, gates, and bars. And Baalath and all the storage cities which Solomon had, and all the cities for his chariots, and the cities for his horsemen, and all that Solomon desired to build in Jerusalem, in Lebanon, and in all the land under his rule. As for all the people who are left of the Hittites, the Amorites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites, who are not of Israel, namely from their sons who are left after them in the land whom the sons of Israel had not consumed, from them Solomon raised up forced laborers to this day. But Solomon did not make slaves for his work from the sons of Israel, for they were men of war, his chief captains, and his chariot commanders, and his horsemen. These were the chief deputies of King Solomon, 250 who ruled over the people. Then Solomon brought Pharaoh's daughter up from the city of David to the house which he built for her, for he said, My wife shall not live in the house of David, king of Israel, because the places are holy where the ark of Yahweh has entered. Then Solomon offered burnt offerings to Yahweh on the altar of Yahweh which he had built before the porch, and did so according to the daily rule, offering them up according to the commandment of Moses for the Sabbaths, the new moons, and the 3 annual feasts, the feast of unleavened bread, the feast of weeks, and the feast of booths. And according to the judgment of his father David, he caused the divisions of the priests to stand for their service, and the Levites for their responsibilities to praise and minister before the priest according to the daily rule, and the gatekeepers by their divisions at every gate, for David the man of God had so commanded. They did not turn away from the commandment of the king to the priests and Levites in any matter or concerning the treasuries. Thus all the work of Solomon was carried out from the day of the foundation of the house of Yahweh and until it was completed. So the house of Yahweh was finished. Then Solomon went to Ezion-Geber and to Eloth on the shore of the sea in the land of Edom. And Hiram, by the hand of his servants, sent him ships and servants who knew the sea. And they went with Solomon's servants to Ophir, and took from there 450 talents of gold, and brought them to King Solomon. And that's going to conclude our reading from the biblical text this morning. Now for our devotional reading. We all tie our hope to something. What controls your hope controls your heart. And what controls your heart controls you and everything you do. Hope is in the heart and language of every human being. I hope you're doing well. I hope I get the job. I hope the weather is good. I hope my marriage problem will be solved. I hope he grows up to love Jesus. I hope to get over this sickness. I hope that what God says is true. I hope I can afford it. Hope is an expectation tied to a particular object or outcome. Everything we do every day is fueled by some kind of hope in something or someone. We are motivated and guided by hope in ways we might not even recognize. The problem is that so much of what we hope in fails us. Hope in marriage is often dented and weakened because marriage is an intimate relationship between two people who still battle with sin. Hope for our children weakens as we realize that even though we can guide, provide for, and discipline them, we have no power whatsoever to control their hearts. Hope in your job is rocky since you can't control your boss, the corporation you work for, or the economy. Hope in your physical strength wanes as age and illness weaken you. The failure of your horizontal hopes makes commitment to vertical hope in God, even more important. In 2 Chronicles chapter 5, Israel is in a moment of national celebration. They're celebrating not because of political or military victories. No, The festivities are deeply spiritual. They get to the core of who these people are and why they continue to exist. Solomon has completed the building of the temple. The Ark of the Covenant and all the furnishings for the holy place are now in the temple, and the glory cloud of the Lord has descended on his house. It is a glorious moment setting Israel apart from every other nation on earth. The temple, the Ark of the Covenant, and the visible indication of God's dwelling with his people together remind the people not only of who they are, but of where lasting, faithful, and trustworthy hope is to be found. In response to God's faithfulness, the people sing, "He is good, for his steadfast love endures forever." 2 Chronicles chapter 5, verse 13. Israel was delivered from Egypt because the steadfast love of the Lord endures forever. They were sustained in the wilderness because the steadfast love of the Lord endures forever. They conquered the nations in the promised land because the steadfast love of the Lord endures forever. They are a nation with a temple filled with the Lord's presence because the steadfast love of the Lord endures forever. Nothing we put our hope in for this life will last forever except the steadfast love of the Lord. Putting your hope in him is never a risk. He is sovereign. He is almighty. He is holy. He is faithful, and he is good. Rest your hope in your Lord. He is worthy of your trust. That's going to conclude our reading this morning from this devotional. Where does your trust lie this morning? Does it lie? Do you trust the Lord? Does it lie in the Lord this morning? As you go through this day, will you be trusting the Lord? Because his steadfast love truly does endure forever. Lean heavily upon him today. Trust him with everything you are. I hope you have a blessed day today. Soli Deo Gloria.